whether there's some other dynamic that is oppressing this momentum that wants to continue rolling and take stock in itself as it starts to power up, you can drive enough energy going this way. And then this is the beauty of a careful consciousness, which, by the way, would only be careful if it loves itself enough to part away from its motion this way and to say, hey, where is that motion going? What's the goal of it? And it can assess that as it's already moving with this, right? Because this is a trajectory, and trajectories are always in motion. So once you're in the velocity, that's when you can get acceleration push. Yes. Once you're in the velocity, once you're already going at a certain momentum, then fine-tunements, that's the only thing that can come. Is that once you've already established this momentum, then the next challenge for you is seeing what you can do with it. And this is where you tie in the calculus sense of derivatives. When you have on the graph the velocity, what's the derivative of velocity? It's the acceleration. And this is because once you're moving, then you can focus on saying, where do I want to push forward? Where do I need to pull back? Where do I need to redirect my energies towards something else? And I think this is what's happening with Cutco. So Jordan, I want to sell you on why Cutco is the right place for you. First reason, because you're doing this. You know that you love this. You know the ideas that are going through your head as you're looking into this tiny little camera ball right here, but also aware of the effect that creates on your mentality and on your consciousness as it speaks and tries to render up itself to say, am I good enough? And whether or not this is the case here, and however unresolved that may be, Cutco is good enough, because Cutco has had 63 years of experience or something along those lines. What are we at? 1949? 62 years of experience, bordering on 63. That's sweet for just pulling it off the top of my head. To be able to say, yeah, we've stood up great this long, especially considering the way that we're marketed to people. Who gets away with that shit nowadays? We go into people's homes to show them knives, people that we don't even know, and convince them to do it. That's amazing, but it's because we're hardly convincing them. The knives convince them because there have been so many different consciousnesses collected into making knives as good as they can be. And it doesn't really matter what the recipient is of that kind of loving attention. Whatever it's going to be is going to be pretty beautiful, right? So it could be knives, it could be cars, it could be your golf clubs, it could be yourself. Think about that. If you're on this momentum and then you push up and say, do I like this? You do? Well, then let's go! Or you can say, hey, I don't know about that path, so why don't we go to this one? Because once you're up here, you get the entire panorama of possibilities. And then the choice is yours. And I'm just saying, from this perspective of seeing panoramic possibilities, Cutco is still the best option. Now, you haven't looked too closely into what it actually would take to be a professor, but I can tell you right now that every skill that would be useful in being a professor will be cultivated in this company because of its positivity.